Yo, 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 everybody, this is Narcoleptic Cheetah, and we're in another episode of Modded Minecraft, playing Enigmatica 2, and still going at 5 times speeds, because we're still in the mess where I screwed up the recordings, or rather, my software was screwed up the recordings. Either way, so we're setting up elevators in our base right now to make it easier to go up and down, especially if we die again. That was one of the biggest problems when we did die, is that we couldn't get around that much. So we can now get up and down with our elevators. And one of the things we're going to do today is we're going to set up our, our nuclear reactor. And I was thinking that these things used to produce a lot of power. I mean, they still produce a fair amount of power for what they are, but for what I was building, I thought it would produce like 60, 70, 100,000 RF per tick, and it winds up producing about 30 or 36,000, something like that. And it's just, it's good. It's just not what I thought it would be. So yeah, we're basically finishing this off from the previous episode, setting up. So we started making we started making the reactor and such. And right here, what I'm doing is I'm trying to figure out like how many cells I can put in there. What are they called? The rods. How many rods I can put in there? Anyway, so yeah, we're continuing from yesterday, and that's an experiment to see if it would fall, if the cryothium would fall all the way to the bottom. And what happens is actually it does fall, but it, like, you have to individually place each source block, which is a real pain in the butt. So I figure out that basically what we can do is we can fill the entire thing with gelid cryothium, but we have to set up, like, we have to just drop it one at a time from the top. Anyway, so I just, in terms of the whole thing with the nuclear reactor, I can't remember if it was nerfed or if, like, in a skyblock I just basically had, not in a skyblock, in the last series I did of this, if basically the amount of power I was getting out of it was so much more than I was getting out of anything else. It could have been that. I really thought that it came up with more power. And I gotta admit, it's basically free power because once we get into mining a little bit more and mining a little bit better, we wind up with, well, that's what we're doing right now. See, we're getting a builder quarry going right now. And so this is a better quarry than the ones that we were using before. And what this does is it's kind of like, so basically think of this as building an enormous hole in the ground, right? But instead you can see there I'm voiding out different things that I want it to void. So it's voiding stone and netherrack and all this stuff, meaning that I built it in the wrong place. But if it's, yeah, so you can see the big block there. That's how much it would mine out, but it would mine it out in that block. So what I'm trying to do right now is put it underground. So as soon as it goes underground, that'll be fine. And kind of realize some weird bugs with this, like the blue thing will not completely go underground and it gets stuck, and if it gets broken, all kinds of weird things happen. So I wound up figuring out how to fix it, but I totally forgot, and by this point, how I did that. Anyway, yeah, see that me breaking it like that with my hand actually messes up the mod a little bit. And you have to, I think you have to set it back to where it was and then pull it back. Or redo it. Anyway, it winds up screwing up for a while. Anyway, okay, so yeah, that's just me figuring out how to stop all that. And we're gonna do a smaller area, but okay. So anyway, this this miner works really well because you attach some chests to it and such as that, and basically it just spits everything out into these chests and spits it out really, really fast, especially if you have a lot of power going to it, and it just mines out like. I think I said it's 64 by 64, so it's at that level. It's going down 64, out 64, and over by 64. So that's why it winds up being like 16 chunks that it mines out, and it mines it really, really fast. So it's good in that we can mine out the world doing this, and it gets you a lot of resources, but at the same time, you're gonna kind of want to like figure out an infinite source of blocks, basically. So that's basically what we're going for at this point, is an infinite source of blocks, and that's going to be with our void ore miners is eventually what's going to happen. But right now I'm just setting up the 2 chests, making sure that it has the right filters, making sure that it goes the right places. And it takes a little bit, but yeah, you can throw in. What I wound up doing is throwing in ores on one side and like everything else on the other side, but I wound up having to have multiple filters for that. Anyway, it's really, really crazy. I also put a chest on top of the builder, so there's kind of like this extra buffer. So it sends everything up into the chest, and then everything comes out of the chest into the proper in chests. And some things go straight into the trash because I didn't want any of them. So, all that said, we get quite a lot of stuff going into the system, and we can, set it to go off all on its own. And I'll catch you guys in the next clip. Okay, guys, hope you guys enjoyed that time lapse there. I know it's a long one, but I really didn't have anything to say. It's basically just building the reactor, and I actually cut it down even from there. So, this is the last of the voiceover episodes, thankfully. We'll get back into a normal rhythm after this episode. So anyway, if you guys liked the episode, please leave a like on it. If you haven't already, please subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next episode.